בין גלים של מים וכאב מצא מקום של שקט, בין סערת געגוע וחלום גלה את כוחם של החיים. רפאי ליבך, רפאי ליבך אהובה, רפאי עד שיחליט. נוכל להמשיך?
אנחנו נתחיל. תודה. ממש אני, ממש תודה.
תודה. רפואה שלמה לכולם.
כן. אנחנו עוד מעט גם ככה... איזושהי סיבה, זה לא נותן לי לשנות. קרן יקרה, אני שלחתי לך... קרן, נראה לי שאני שאלתי רק לך, כי איכשהו זה תקוע לי ולא... תשלחי בבקשה, שלחתי לך את הלינק ליוטיוב, ובבקשה ככה תעזרי לי להעביר את זה לאנשים אחרים, ואנחנו נתחיל. אז שלום. שלום and hello to everyone that is here. It is a very, very special evening for us. A day that is both part of so many weeks of deep sadness and fear and all the emotions that come with what is happening in those days. And it is also a day of an evening of uniting together for this special hour of opening our hearts, of softening the hearts, of going deeper. And we have such a wonderful, wonderful and beautiful teacher with us, Brach, that is here with us, in her heart and with her presence. And Tara is, many of you know her with the work she's doing with emotions and with the rain that so many of us learn here, and we will also see today. And she's also one of my teachers a few years ago when I wanted to deepen my teaching as a mindfulness teacher, and I roll up to her a Jack Kornfield course, and I was learning with her videos for 2 years, and it's so special for me to be in this presence and to do it together. So Tara, I really want to thank you with all my heart for being here with us. It is so special for so many of us, for all that is here, that we are not alone, that we are a big, big sangha of all these people in this world. So thank you. Yes. And we will start.
Thank you so much, Michal, and thank you to Toda Bria for gathering us a few more thanks. That music, oh my gosh, just, Shani, thank you. Beautiful. And Asaf, Leon, just to all of you for gathering. You are not alone. You know, I'm deeply sad for what brings us together. I'm really happy to be with you. And just to know there's heartbreak around the world, you're not alone. So I really want to honor each of you for being here and just for pausing together for what I call creating heart space or sacred space. It feels so important in these times. And I want to ask you a question, Michal, if you're still around. You mentioned an hour, and I was thinking an hour and a half, and I just
An hour and a half.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to go on and have some. Thank you. Yeah, I have been last weeks talking to many of my Israeli friends, and I'm so aware of how, for so many, these current times, this experience is unlike anything in the past, in this lifetime. I mean, the magnitude of the violence, and it's such a deep question for all of us. How do we hold this? You know, what gives us refuge? I mean, to me, that's a compelling question. What gives us refuge? And so this evening, as I mentioned, we're just to create some sacred space with each other, with meditations and shared presence. And the grounds of sacred space. And I already feel like it's happening with that, the music that brings us from the head to the heart, right? What grounds us in sacred space is connecting with our heart's deepest aspiration. It's like the Zen masters teach that the most important thing is remembering the most important thing. I know you understand. So we start in a simple way with a reflection that brings our hearts and minds together. If you need to in any way adjust your position so you can come into stillness, I invite you into stillness. Make sure that you're comfortable, relaxed, perhaps also a bit upright because I know it's evening. And you might let your attention go from paying attention outward, turning to what's inward for these moments. And this universal practice of breathing together. You might become aware of the breath and let this next in-breath be long, deep, and full. So you're filling your chest and your lungs. And then a very slow out-breath. Releasing slowly. Feel the sensations of releasing the breath. And again, inhaling deeply, filling the chest and lungs. And then that slow, smooth out breath, connecting with the experience of letting go. Just letting go, letting go. Again, breathing in, filling the chest and the lungs. And that slow out breath, releasing, relaxing outward, softening down the body, letting go. One more time, inhaling deeply. Slow out breath, releasing, letting go, letting go. And now as your breath resumes its natural rhythm, become aware of the quality of presence that's here. Observing and intimate with this life breath. Aware of the sounds around you. Aware of the sensations that live through your body. and gently bringing the attention right to the region of the heart. And you might sense, what is the state of my heart right now? There might be an image, there might be words. So this is an honest connecting with the state of your heart right now. Breathing, feeling, present. And deepening your attention, listening deeply now. What is your aspiration? What's your heart longing for right now? And if you get an immediate response, you might even deepen and say, and if I had that, then what would that give me? What really matters? It's as if you're asking, if I'm at the end of my life looking back, what would most matter about how I live or experience today, right now? What's your intention, your aspiration, right in these moments? And whatever you find, just inwardly honor it as if you're bowing to your own heart. Thank you, friends. It helps me to have a little bit of a pausing and checking in too. I'd like to invite you maybe to share on chat, if you'd like, a word or a phrase, just a little bit that expresses your aspiration, ideally in English, and Hebrew's fine, we have translators, but just to sense a bit of what's here. I'm reading some peace, being here, giving love, harmony. Radical acceptance, tranquility, silence, loving, self-love, safety, unity, thanks to life, equanimity, no worries, hope. Oh, so beautiful. Togetherness, heal the heart. Compassion, creativity, no hate. I'm just touched taking you all in. I got to scan and kind of just tune into you during the music. So there's just that sense of intimacy, getting to know you, being with you, sensing what's mattering to you, having it in the atmosphere. So yeah, thank you again. As I mentioned, I'm aware that we're living in a field of collective trauma. And for some, it's really immediate, right, in your nervous systems. And for others, maybe not as raw. And yet you're aware of the deep currents, the fear, the anger, the uncertainty, the powerlessness, the grief. I know. So we'll do some meditation, as I mentioned. There'll be time for some questions. I invite you through this time just to keep taking good care of yourself. If something I invite you to check out feels too raw, just bring your attention back to your breath or whatever brings you some ease. This is about caretaking, okay? Okay. So there's an indigenous teaching that when there's trauma, parts of the soul go into hiding, that we lose access to our intuition, to our wisdom, to our compassion, to our clarity. And in psychology, similar understanding that trauma is understood as creating disconnection, dissociation. We're cut off from our wholeness, our bodies, our heart, our reason, our spirit. So when a shaman, an indigenous leader, healer, leads a soul retrieval, okay, the soul's gone into hiding, leads a soul retrieval, inviting back all the parts, the woundedness and the heart, back into wholeness. And the way they do it, and I'm thinking of it because of what's right here, is they provide the safe refuge of a loving gathering. There's such power when people who care get together to hold a space, and then we can each a little bit begin to touch into that soul retrieval. And I love the word refuge, by the way, that we all need. And this is regardless of religion or spiritual or humanistic affiliation. We all need a sense of what's larger, a larger belonging, a meaning, a sense of homecoming to what's really true. And it can be to community. That's so powerful. Or I'm sure many of you have experienced refuge in the natural world and in our inner life. Because sometimes we can't go somewhere beautiful. We don't have other people around. In our inner life, our refuge is awake awareness, loving awareness. Different language for it in different religions. It could be Buddha nature from the Buddhist tradition, or God, or oneness, or universal intelligence, divine love. It's that awake heart mind that's our home. That's our refuge. And in meditation, you might think of there's two different pathways to refuge that totally interconnect. And one of them is resourcing, which means cultivating positive inner states. And the other is full presence. We all need resourcing at times. We all get stuck in such deep pain and reactivity when it's overwhelming, the fear, the distress, that we need ways of touching into safety, into a sense of strength, into a sense of love, to calm our nervous system so that we can come into presence. There's a attachment scientist, Luis Cozzolino, and he says, it's not the survival of the fittest, it's the survival of the nurtured. Does that resonate for you? Yeah. So resourcing, self-nurturing, what brings us back online into a more whole and calm and functional nervous system, it might be bringing to mind a loving connection with a dear one. So powerful. Or it might be a beautiful part of the natural world, a grove of olive trees, or the red canyons, or the sea. It might be the words of a prayer or a mantra, like the loving kindness meditation. It might be that we cultivate more of a sense of peace when we touch our own hearts, or when we bring our palms together. That helps me. When I feel that, it's somehow or other, it's a combination of feeling humility and belonging to something precious and whole. So especially with trauma, we need to ground. We need to come back into our bodies, to feel the weight of our bodies and the gravity that holds us to the earth, to feel the earth. We need to move, sometimes to shake, and we certainly need to find ways to come into conscious breathing. I want to share a resource story with you because it was so recent and felt so relevant. And this is last week. It was a woman in the States. We were kind of doing this format, an online gathering, and she had just lost a family member in the terrorist attack here. And her other family members here in Israel are alive, and she's living with fear, of what's to come. So she said, Tara, I can't meditate. I can't begin to open to presence. It's just, I'm so distressed. And so I asked her what I often ask when I'm trying to help someone find a pathway to resourcing, to cultivating some strength and safety and ease. And I said, well, what does help you? What helps even a little? Okay. And she lives near the ocean, east coast of United States. And she said, well, when I'm near the ocean, to her, the ocean expresses the sacred feminine. And so I suggested that she not try to sit and meditate, but instead that she walk on the beach and let her grief and fear be held by the sea. It's as if you're offering it into this larger space that can hold it. Let the waves move through. If you remember you're the ocean, you're not afraid of the waves, right? So she sometimes, couldn't get to the beach clearly, but she had a pathway because we have to be able to resource ourselves wherever we are. Her way of reconnecting in any moment was to imagine and sense that vastness of the ocean and the waves, and that whatever was going on inside her belonged to the ocean. For others, when I ask, could be the hug of a dear one, or it might be the intimate presence of what people consider the beloved, some sense of the sacred, a spiritual figure. Just the words, love is always loving you, from one spiritual master, can remind us, even when it's hidden, it's here. There is something loving and precious that holds our life. Okay, I want to pause for a moment and we'll just together explore a little bit of resourcing, because as I said, we all need pathways like that. And you don't have to move or do anything, to resettle yourself, but just let your attention go inward again for a moment, okay? And just ask yourself, review these last days. What's helped you even a little? What has helped? Has it been sitting still and being quiet in meditation? Has it been a place of natural beauty? Has it been being with a dear one? Or maybe there's something you're reminding yourself of, like a mantra or a prayer or a loving kindness phrase. Whatever has helped even a little, just sense that you can right this moment touch that. Bring it to mind. Invite it to lift up your heart. If you're wanting to, you might just share on chat whatever, just a word or two, whatever gives you some peace or ease or healing, because we learn from each other. We give each other good ideas about things. And again, it could be yoga, reading, music. Beautiful. Autumn leaves, helping others, loving kindness, connection, sunsets, being with my family, running, moving, playing music, swim, snorkeling, dogs, helping others. Yeah. walking in nature, my baby, volunteering. You know, it is true that when we act in a way that we feel is serving, it starts to absorb the anxiety, just acting. And then when we act together, it's very powerful. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for what you shared. Okay, so our deepest, most direct pathway to refuge, a refuge that's unconditional and available in the deepest ways, is through presence, embodied presence. In other words, it's being with reality directly, whatever's here. I always think of Carl Jung, who says that our suffering comes from the unseen, unfelt parts of our psyche. Our suffering comes from what we're not paying attention to that's there. And just like soul retrieval, healing requires bringing all the parts of our psyche into the light of awareness. You know, and it could be feelings of personal failure and shame, or it could be the loneliness that we avoid facing, or the anxiety that's an undercurrent of so much, or our anger, our grief. What is it we're not opening to or seeing? Because the more that's in awareness, the more our whole being is inhabiting an awake awareness. We are inhabiting our refuge. You know, I always find this valuable, thinking of Joseph Campbell, many of you are aware of as the great mythologist, and he describes awareness as this big circle, just an image. And so awareness is a circle, and there's a line going through it. And what he says is that what is below the line is what's outside of our conscious awareness. And what's above the line is what is included. And when we meditate, when we deepen our attention, the line moves. There's more and more presence, liberating presence. So this is what we're going to practice together. This is kind of the main practice we'll do, is finding refuge through unconditional presence. And it's helpful to sense that there's two wings to that presence or that awareness. And one is mindfulness, seeing what's here. And the other is compassion, that our heart cares about what's here. It's like a bird with two wings, that we need both to be free, mindfulness and compassion. And we'll practice it with the RAIN meditation, which is an applied meditation. And Michal will post on the chat what this acronym means, so that I'll be speaking in English, that those of you who don't speak English as well might find it's helpful to see it in Hebrew. But the reason, there's 4 steps to RAIN: recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. And here's the value of having 4 steps, that when we most need presence, when we most want to respond from our wholeness, those are the times that we're least able to, because we're hijacked. When we most need presence is when we're hijacked by fear or anger, and we can't remember the pathway back. We don't know how to get back to that refuge of presence. So the RAIN practice gives us 4 steps that are pretty easy to remember, especially if we practice them when we're not totally hijacked. Then we can remember them. And what I'd like to do is share another recent story of doing some RAIN with a friend who's also a teacher. And again, this was last week. And she was in the grip of a very painful reaction, anger, blame, just her heart was really just gripped by it, to, again, the horrific terrorism here. And also to the violence of the attack in Gaza, the Palestinian people. It's like myself, she has many Israeli and Palestinian friends. And so with her, I asked the same thing we did, which is what really matters to you. At the end of your life, looking back, what will most matter? And she said, I want to be able to respond to what's going on, not react. I want to be part of the healing. And it was like this prayer where she was saying, oh, please, there's so much hatred. I don't want to seed more. May I keep a soft heart? May I be part of the healing, right? So that was her aspiration. And we talked for a little bit about this because we both have a deep resonance with the teaching found in many spiritual traditions. The Buddhist form is that hatred never ceases by hatred, but by love alone is healed. This is the ancient and eternal law. Hatred never ceases by hatred, but by love alone is healed. So that was the background. And then we started the rain practice. And the R of rain, which is recognize, and what I invite with recognize is just to name what's predominant, what's right there. And she whispered it, anger and blame, anger, blame. The allow means just to let what's there be there, not to fight the life of the moment. Let it be there. I think of it often like it's a wave in the ocean. It belongs. And so she reflected on that. This belongs. This is a natural part of life. Recognize and allow. The I of rain is investigate. And investigate is primarily somatic. It's primarily feeling in our body. And she found, as she was doing it, that under the anger and the blame, she found a powerlessness and a fear that was really hard to connect with. I mean, she had an inner voice that kept saying, there's no answer. I don't see an answer. But when she opened to that fear and that powerlessness, and it helped to have her hand on her heart and to breathe and stay connected, underneath the fear and that not knowing, there was an ocean of grief. When she let herself not know, she just opened to the grief that was there and needed to be felt, that grieving place. And from that place, she could say, I love life. I want to protect life. The last part of rain of the steps is to nurture. And the question I usually ask is, what does that grieving place need? Or what is that hurting place? Or whatever that place is feeling, what does it need? And for her, it needed to be accepted. Okay, it's grieving time. And it also needed to feel held in love. So as I mentioned, she had her hand on her heart and she just offered it a really tender presence. I'm here. I'm not leaving. I love you. When we complete the steps, there's a last phase of this practice. And this is an important moment to notice the quality of presence that's emerged. That shift from the angry, blaming self to that space of tender, awake awareness. And as she did it, she knew this was homecoming. In other words, she knew that that open-hearted space was more the truth of who she was than any anger or story that was going on inside her. She was tasting, inhabiting true refuge. So I offered a final inquiry that I love, which is, what is love asking from you right now? We ask it to ourselves, what is love asking from me? Because once we've tasted refuge, we can start sensing, well, okay, what does my heart really want to do, to express? And for her, it was simple to keep loving life, to keep speaking out, to keep teaching on the remembrance of the preciousness of all lives. So friends, this is a powerful process. And to end it with that question, once we've touched some refuge, what is love asking from me, can move us into responding to our world. We don't have to respond right away, but it gives us a place to respond from rather than our reactivity from what some might call the high self, the awake heart. And sometimes the response in us when we ask that question, what is love asking, is a very outward facing active way of serving someone close or serving the larger society. Sometimes people will say, well, what love's asking is that I am more forgiving of myself, that I be kinder to myself. You know, different responses. There's a young poet who lived in Washington, D.C. His name was Matty Stepanek. And he's a published poet. He started writing poems when he was 3. I want to just read you a verse that he wrote the day after 9/11. He was 13 years old. He died a few years later of muscular dystrophy. And all those years of his life, 3 till I think 15 or 16, he was teaching about this. What is love asking? And here's what he felt love was asking in that moment, right after 9/11. I'm going to read you what he wrote. We need to stop. Just stop. Stop for a moment before anybody says or does anything that may hurt anyone else. We need to be silent. Just silent for a moment before the future slips away into ashes and dust. Stop, be silent, and notice in so many ways we are the same. And now let us pray, differently yet together, before there is no earth, no life, no chance for peace. I can't read it without being so moved. It's kind of timeless. It's not what we humans do. We react. We do hurt each other. And yet it's our capacity. If we learn how to turn towards true refuge, to pause, to be quiet, we can respond. So our lives become an expression of love and wisdom. Okay, so we're going to practice together. And as I mentioned, like soul retrieval, we're practicing in the presence of each other. Sacred space, the support of a larger field of beings who care, who want to wake up. And you can draw on that, just to feel that, to sense that. And friends, if any of you, as I'm guiding this, feel overwhelmed, like it's too much, please take care of yourself. Come back to whatever resources you. Shift your focus to remembering a space that calms you, other humans, words that soothe you. Okay, the first pre-step to the steps is to be here in our bodies. And what I'd like to ask, if you will, is to stand up so we can just move for a few moments so we can get really here, because you can get disembodied just sitting and looking into a screen, or at least I can. So, and take a moment just to, as you stand up, first listen to your body and just notice in the next 30 seconds what kind of stretching or moving might help your body to be more here, to be more relaxed, to be more open. still standing, we'll do the last part together. It's a very simple pranayama whereby you'll be inhaling up, fingers apart, exhaling. As you exhale down, your hands are in fists. So it goes. That's it. Deep inhale, stretch up, exhale down, and you can speed it up to a level that's comfortable and fast. Strong breath. Last time, inhale up. And then keep your arms up, relax the breath, and let the arms come down in slow motion, eyes closed, feeling from the inside out the movement, so slow that if others are watching you, they might not see the movement. Become exquisitely aware of the sensations in the arms, the shoulders, the hands, slowly coming down. Beautiful. That's it. And when your arms are down all the way, just standing still for a moment with your eyes closed if you can, or your gaze lowered if that gets you off balance. Let the breath come deep into the belly, softening the belly to receive the breath. Feel the breath like the body's a balloon, every cell inflating a bit with the in-breath and gently releasing. And as you're ready to gently come back into your chair, your seat, okay, good. Finding your way to the posture that supports you in being relaxed, also awake. And as you let your attention turn inward, again, feel that movement of the breath. Perhaps take a few long, deep breaths with that slow out breath. And sense with the out breath that you can soften down the length of the body. And with the breath in a natural rhythm, you might sense what wants to let go in your body right now. Just gently scanning, bringing awareness to any part of your body that wants to relax, dissolve the tightness, soften. And scanning your very recent life and what's up for you right now. Sense what is asking for your healing attention. What feelings or reactivity really wants to be in the light of awareness right now, will benefit from being in the light of awareness. You might just sense, where are you feeling emotionally stuck? Or as one wise sage put it, what have you been unwilling to feel that you might open to right now? And there may be a particular situation that's triggering to you. It may have to do with the state of the land you live in. It may have to do with something more personal and immediate to do with family, relationships, work. Where do you feel reactive? Where do you feel stuck? And letting your attention go right to where you feel the most distress or difficulty. We begin rain with recognizing what emotion is predominant. Or it may be two, but what is predominant for you right now? And you might mentally whisper whatever you're aware of. It helps to note it. It could be fear or anger, shame, embarrassment, grief, anxiety. Naming what's strong. And after you've named it, allowing it to be there. In some way, you're communicating, okay, this belongs. It's part of the experience of the moment. It's a courageous acknowledgement of what's here. This is the weather that's living through me right now. We begin the eye of rain investigating. You might ask yourself, when I'm feeling this way, what am I believing? Am I believing that there's more suffering ahead? Am I believing that I'm falling short? Am I believing that someone else doesn't care or value me? Just sense if there's a belief that's behind what you're feeling. You don't have to spend too much time searching, but just sense it. And when you're believing and feeling this, where do you feel it most in your body? And check your throat, your chest, your belly. Sometimes it helps at this point to put your hand where you feel emotion. Often people feel in their heart and their belly, and they just put their hands there. If you've never done this before, experiment. It can serve your heart and your spirit. And you might even sense when you're feeling this, what would the expression on your face be that really expresses the feeling? And again, explore, experiment. You can even let your posture be in the posture that expresses. For some people, the hands are in fists. Or if there's fear, could be that the shoulders are hunched forward, the chest caves, the jaws clenched. Experiment. Let your face, your posture embody what you're feeling, the vulnerability. And see if you can find where the most vulnerable part of the experience lives in your body. And go right to the center of that, breathing with it, feeling it, letting it be there. And listening, what does this place most need? How does it want you to be with it? This is the lead into nurturing. What is this part of you, this anger or fear or hurt or shame? What does this part of you most need right now? What would bring some healing? What does it need to remember or to trust? And as you ask that question, you could even change your posture a little so you're embodying your most wise self, your most compassionate heart, listening from that larger, more awake part of your being. Or you might find that you call on a larger source of nurturing. If it's hard to nurture yourself, you might bring to mind a wise and loving friend, or a healer, or a spiritual figure. Or maybe for some, it's an ancestor. For some, it's their dog, a pet. For some, it's that sense of formless, loving awareness. Just call on what can help you right now. And if you haven't already, you might put your hand on your heart, because that helps to add power to the practice, and offer a message inwardly to the place that most needs it. Either you offer it or sense it being offered from that larger source. It could be the message, I love you and I'm listening. And you can even offer it by saying your name. I love you and I'm here with you. It's not your fault. I'm not leaving. Or it might be, trust your heart, trust your goodness. Again, experiment to find the words that you intuit are healing for this moment. You might sense that you can make the touch very gentle so it conveys care. Conveys acceptance, forgiveness, compassion. And if you want to deepen, you might imagine and sense light and love bathing you right now, bathing that place. Visualize it. Explore letting it in. That sense of light and love washing through you, even through the spaces between the cells. Noticing what happens when you're offering care, when you're sincerely offering care to the life that's within you. And you might widen your attention now and sense the quality of presence that has emerged through these steps of paying attention. Sense what's here. Notice if there's more spaciousness, more of a sense of wholeness or awakeness, if there's more tenderness in the field. You might sense the difference between when you started the practice, that sense of being identified as a small and angry or hurt or fearful self, and this more spacious field of presence to whatever degree, knowing that this is more the truth of who you are, than any passing feeling, any passing story. That this is your true refuge, this more tender, open presence. And as a way of closing the meditation, you might ask that question, what is love asking from me today? How do I want to respond to the suffering that's within me, within the beings I love, the suffering that is felt through our species and through all life systems? How do I want to respond? How does love want me to respond? And you might even sense for now just one or two ways that love wants you to respond, either to yourself or others or this world. Just sense it. Take your time. Let it come from sincerity. Knowing that when your life is an expression of love, when you're acting from love, that is freedom. Acting from love is freedom. As we've been doing, if you be open to just maybe writing down one thing that love is asking from you. It'd be really lovely to see what's in the space here. Again, it can be in Hebrew or English, and maybe one of the translators can read out loud the Hebrew.
Forgiveness, be gentle, open heart,
Believe. I want to be playful. Patience. Spread love around. Self-care. Hug.
listening. Yeah. Gentle, compassion, happiness, acceptance, hugging.
I want to forgive myself. Share and listen. To spread love and light.
Just open. Just love. Accept myself.
Gentleness, softness, trust.
Gratitude, quietness, not to be afraid, gentleness, tenderness, peace with my body.
To believe in the power of love to heal. Wow. I'm very, very touched. There's just such beauty and depth and dimension. So thank you. So we wanted to maybe shift a bit here, and Michal will be kind of facilitating this, sense what's in the group. If there are some questions or sharings, we'll hear from you now.
Yes. So anyone, you can write the questions. Some you will write and I will send. Later we will have also a few that can share with Tara. So you can write in the chat the questions. One question is, what should we investigate beneath the feeling?
Michal, will we be able to have the questioner on, or shall I just respond to the question?
Just a minute, I would let her speak. Just a minute. Here, Michaela, you can ask.
Yes, thank you very much, Michal and Tara.
Michaela, is it okay that you will be in the recording with your face or only with your voice?
About my face, I don't know, but about my voice,
okay.
it can
So
be fine.
it's recording without, okay, yes.
Thank you. So the part of the investigation, what should we or I investigate beneath the feelings? I mean, after the part that I recognize and allow, what should I investigate exactly? If I know, for example, the feeling is maybe I'm worrying or something. So what should I ask after what's there?
Yeah. Just a quick question. Can we highlight whoever's asking so I actually can see, because there's so I can't.
She's without
I can
the
raise
camera.
my hand.
I'm sorry?
She's without the camera.
Oh, okay. And name again?
Michaela.
Micaiah.
Yeah, Michaela.
Michaela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michaela.
Well, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate the question. And when you just did the RAIN process and you were investigating, what feeling did you get to? What were you feeling?
Well, at first it was fear, but I think it was more worrying. I was worried
Mm-hmm. And
about my
worried about, I'm sorry?
About my children, my soldiers, you know.
Yes. So fear, worry about your children, your soldier. And let me ask you this, where was the feeling in your body and what was it like?
The truth is that I felt it in my hand. It was strange, but not my heart, my hand, one of them.
You felt it in one of your hands?
Yes, yeah.
And did you scan through your body to sense if it was living anywhere else? I'm just curious.
Yes.
So the feeling was in you.
It was in my hand, but I remember I also put my hand on my leg to relax. Something about my mind said, I want to maybe stop worrying or, release the pain, something like that. Stop thinking. So it was my mind inside my head and my hand.
So
And
let's just practice a little bit right now, okay? Because that'll be
yes,
the most, that'll give you the best sense. And this is for any of you that feel like you might have gone deeper in some way and you're not sure. Is again, Michaela, you might remind yourself of what is distressing, what brings up the fear and the worry, and let yourself kind of say, okay, I'm willing to notice this and be with this. Is kind of give yourself permission and take a moment. And there might be some image in your mind.
yes, I thought about my grandmother. She was telling me something like, everything is okay, stop worrying, and it helped.
So what I'm hearing is that you went to nurturing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the practice. You can go right to nurturing. If you're very, very upset, you can right away sense, oh, well, that resource of hearing my grandmother's voice saying it's okay. And that's quite fine, especially if it calms you down. But
Okay.
often it doesn't do the trick. Often we'll have a worry or a fear that's so deep that it needs more attention. And so in RAIN, after you've recognized and allowed what's disturbing, you don't go right to nurturing. Instead, you actually deepen attention to where it's living and really feel where you feel most vulnerable. And that can take some practice because we're very used to dissociating. We're very used to trying to get rid of the unpleasant feeling and be kind towards that habit, you know. But if you stay in your body and let yourself actually feel the grip of fear and worry, it's very unpleasant, but if you feel it, you'll sense in a deepest way what is this place most need to trust. But it needs to be felt as sensations in the body.
I can feel it now. It's strange. I mean, my hands, two of them now, because it's like they are telling me we can't do anything. So that's why I think I feel a flow there.
Yeah. So you're feeling, so we can't do anything, meaning like powerless.
Yeah, I can't do, when they feel something. So it's just maybe praying, maybe, hoping, but not doing, be there and help, or I don't know.
That's right. That part of being able to find refuge is sensing, at least in this moment, there's nothing we can do activity-wise to control things. We don't have control. And it's almost like when we realize we don't have control, that we drop deeper into the sorrows that are here, that there really is suffering going on, and we come honestly to acknowledge it. And that takes some courage. And then when we nurture, it goes much deeper. So my encouragement to you is nurture whenever you feel it's overwhelming, but take a little more time to let yourself honestly get in touch with the experience, with that not knowing that my friend had a touch. And I think if we did a hand raise, there's a lot of us that have a sense of the power of letting the uncertainty be there. We have to live with that right now. We can't pretend we have certainty. It'll block the truth of our vulnerability. So I really want to thank you for your question. One more thing to say is that, as they put it, our issues are in our tissues. So it takes a while, but we need to keep coming back to where this all lives in our bodies, because we are very dissociated. We meaning all of us. We leave our bodies a lot. So again, it's brave to come.
That's it. This is what I wanted to say. It seems like the key word here is brave. And we all need to be brave and let it be, let it go, let us feel, I think.
You're very wise, dear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is really
very
true.
much.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Good evening.
So we have one more question from Stav Shimoni. Stav, if you want to.
Hi.
Stars, is it okay that I will record you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just a minute. Let's see where you are. Can you say something so I see you?
Yeah, hi. This is me. You can see me? Yeah.
Ah, there you are.
Hello.
Hey.
So my question was, I feel that I'm constantly grieving the old me. So I have a lot of judgment for the new me, like the one who's anxious or traumatized. I always compare like the old me with the new me, and I just feel like this constant grief. I like actually feeling like the old me is dead, and I'm not sure how to release myself, how to accept the new me.
I'm really grateful for your question because I know how you're not alone, really, dear. Yeah. Let me say back what I heard, make sure I have it, that the new me is much more caught in trauma.
Yeah,
And it's very hard to forgive that that's how it is and to lose more of a freedom of not feeling traumatized. So there's a lot of judgment.
exactly.
Yeah. So the two things that you would be recognizing is both grieving and judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
So because there's so many that have that kind of experience, let's just take a moment to dip in with a little bit of a reflection. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is for all of you. So you can close your eyes and go inward. And so you don't have to feel like everybody's watching you. It's like we're all doing it together. And let me ask you to check in and sense how this has been, that over and over again, you're having to grieve the old me and there's judgment about the new me. And let me ask you, where is the suffering the greatest? Is it the grieving or is it the judgment?
The judgment is there most of the time, and the grieving just pops up sometimes. Like whenever I'm free, I'm not doing anything, and suddenly I feel this really deep sadness.
Okay, the sadness is there in the background a lot, but it comes forward now and then. But the judgment is the more ongoing energy that's moving through.
Yeah.
And if you could say, what is the judging voice saying? What's its kind of view of things?
Well, it's always in every situation, it's always telling me in my head how I would react differently and better before.
Mm,
And like always thinking what exactly was the point when it changed and how it changed, and how it is now, and how it is worse and it's gonna get more bad in the future.
okay, so it's really saying you should be different. You should be
Yeah,
handling this differently.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let me ask you this as you pay attention more deeply. What is the judging place trying to do for you? How is it trying to help?
Um, I think it wants the old me back.
Right. It's trying to get a more resourceful, balanced state back, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens when you just send a message to that judging place? First, tell me, where do you feel the judgment the most? I mean, I know there's words in your mind, but when you're feeling really judgmental towards yourself, where do you feel it?
I think my throat is like where I feel it the most. I'm always like choked. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
choking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe gently put your hand on your throat. I'm doing the same thing right now. Yeah. And you're just offering presence to the place of judgment that feels like a choking, like it's like the judgment place feels like there's something wrong with how it is. You should be different. And it's trying to get back what really is a sense of a happier, more resourceful self. So just feel that judging part of you and send a message to it Thank you for trying to help me. Thank you for trying to help me be in a happier place. And just notice what happens when you thank. It's got a good intention. It's trying to help you. What happens when you acknowledge that?
It's a little bit released, I think.
Yeah. You might sense what it needs from you. Like, say you're paying attention. You know that this is a hurting time. You know that you're feeling more contraction than usual. Just say, okay, thank you. What do you need from me right now? Do you want me what do you want me to pay attention to? What do you really want from me?
Just wants me to be happy.
Yeah. So sense that, and sense that that's really coming from love. This is a voice of love that just got constricted. It's a little bit like misguided love. It wants you to be happy, but it doesn't know a better way to go about it, so it's judging. Does that resonate?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just sense that you're right there with it. You want to be happier, and you can't speed through a traumatic time. All you can do is gently love yourself into healing day after day. And on the other side, you'll have a lot more understanding about love. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can sometimes I have those little moments of light when I can see like maybe it's for the better.
Yeah.
Maybe some parts of me are more understanding or open. I want them to be more often and longer, those moments. Yeah.
We all do. It's just the way we are. We really want to be as awake and healed as we can be. Be patient, dear. You're not alone. It's a collective trauma, and it's playing through nervous systems around the globe. The more you can know that, and know that as you love yourself into healing, you're drawing on the loving that's going to make a difference for others.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Blessings.
Good. So we have one more question from Itai Samama. How to continue and strengthen what I see now? I feel that when I go out of meditation to the everyday life, the clarity disappears. Itai, he wrote in Hebrew, so I will speak in Hebrew too. I don't know if... איתי, אתה יודע אנגלית מספיק טוב? אתה רוצה ככה לדבר או שאני אתרגם אותך? רגע, אני אתן לך... הנה, פתחתי לך. I open to you.
Hey, Tara.
And let me see you.
I see you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I will change speaker view.
So as I asked, like, first of all, thanks for the meditation. It was really, like, I felt really relief after it. And I really see, like, what can help me to feel more relief, and I also felt it. But like, as I know from like other time that I practice meditation, like after some while, it's just, you know, the clarity disappear. And
yeah, I'm laughing with you. Because that is me too. Me too. It's like when we go into what's called the marketplace, when we leave the cave and go into the marketplace, there are a lot of triggers, and we shrink back into a smaller self. We forget. And I think of this whole path as forgetting and remembering. And the one thing that I know most helps is to forgive the forgetting. To be really, really kind towards that, because it's universal. We all forget a larger truth. We all get smaller. So that's the big picture, is to be real and really be on top of that, because the more you are really accepting of that, you're actually create a transformational space. When we judge ourselves, we shut down our access to wisdom and to love. Okay, so that's one thing. And then now I have a question, which is, what have you found even helps a little to keep you connected to what you know? So you go to work or you're with people socially and there's some remembrance. What is it that helps you?
I just have like this memory of me really happy with my wife, and I just felt it was like really something that still alive inside of me. You understand? Like this, I don't know, smile and this love. And I don't know, it's just feel like you said, just to remember it. It was very powerful, that it's not like gone, the smile and you know, how to, when you enjoy from things like that.
That is totally beautiful, because what you're describing is that your relationship with your wife is a portal to refuge. It connects you with a love that's bigger than who you are. Yeah?
Yeah.
So if you want to have more access to that during the day, then at the beginning of each day, do you do some sort of a meditation?
Yes.
Yeah. When you are about to end your meditation, call in that loving, get in touch with it, and then set your aspiration to stay connected to the energy field. It doesn't have to be like you go through the day thinking about your wife. You're really trying to stay connected with something that's bigger than your wife and you. It's a field of love that is who you are. And the more that you have a strong aspiration, it's like, may I remember love today. May I live from love, and even have in mind, if you can, a few things you'll be doing during the day, and imagine yourself in an open-hearted space during those things. This is training of the mind, but it actually works. So work on your aspiration. In Buddhism, this is the bodhisattva path, where you really set what most matters to you in your mind over and over again, and you get drawn to it. It becomes the compass for the heart. How does that sit for you?
Yeah, it sounds great. Thank you very much for the talk, and also for this. Thank you very much.
It's such a pleasure to have your question and to meet you. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm just getting you on gallery view, all of you. I am really moved by each of you I'm hearing from, but also the space you're all holding that allows people to be so real, because it doesn't always happen. And I'd like to end with a ritual that I think is beautiful. I think you were asked to bring a candle. Some of you might have, some of you might not have. Don't worry if you didn't. I have mine. You might turn off your lights if you'd like to. It's night, I know, and it can be quite lovely just to see us and our candles. So we'll take a half minute, give you a chance to light candles. I want to confess that my candle is battery, and I'm imbuing it the same sacredness as anything else. Oh, sweet. Lovely to see. Just scrolling through because it's really lovely to see you all. And yeah. And when you come back into place, invite yourself into presence. Sense the sincerity in your heart that's right here. To keep waking up, to live from all that you are, to be part of the healing. So take some moments, feel your body, feel your breath. Let your senses be awake so you're aware of sound, sensations. You might close your eyes for a moment and imagine that there is a smile spreading through your eyes so the outer corners are lifted a little. Let the brow be smooth. And bring that same slight smile to the mouth, just slight, so that the inside of your mouth feels like it's smiling. You might visualize and sense a smile spreading through your heart, not to cover over anything, but just to create the space, that sacred space that allows you to be the ocean, to let the waves move through. And then gently, as you're ready to open your eyes and just sense the lights that are here, and where there are squares with no lights, know that there's a light of a human heart there, radiant. And that in some deep way, the lights are all from the same source. These hearts are from the same source. These minds, the same luminous, loving source. And that healing is remembering. And then feeling right here, this shared heart space. What I'd like to invite is to hear a few voices. You can raise your hand if you're willing to either say your prayer moving forward, what you're wishing, or if you'd like to say the name of someone who was lost, or someone that needs to be named, so that our shared sacred space is holding that. I'm going to take a few minutes to hear your prayers, hear the names, the rest of us holding silence.
For Abigail, who's 3 years old and in the Hamas tunnels alone, without any family.
I would like to mention a few people. Yanai Kaminka, who died in the battle in one of the base in Zikim in the first day. He saved all his other soldiers by that. I want to mention Aznel Goren, who is a brother of my friend who was killed by the terrorist, and her sister-in-law that is kidnapped to Gaza, Maya.
I would like to mention Tamar Gutman, who's still missing, and Hadar Bodzitevsky, who was murdered protecting her babies.
Hava, a sister of my friend from Berry, and Vivian Silver, who is missing.
I like to mention a 16-year-old Lior from Berry, who was found last week, and his 13-year-old sister, Gali, who is still missing.
I would like to say a prayer for Elma Avraham, who is the mother of a friend of mine, who is a hostage now, and I hope she will return safe.
אני רוצה להזכיר את שמו של שימי חייט, שנרצח במסיבה. הוא היה בן זוג של הנכדה של אחותי.
Miriam said that she wants to say the name. What's his name, Miriam?
שימי חייט.
Shimi Khayat was the boyfriend of her sister's grandchild.
I want to pray for Shiri Bibas and two of her children. The baby was 9 months, I think, and her 4-year boy.
I'd like to remind Sagi Golan. He was the brother of my son-in-law, and he was killed in Be'eri while he was fighting the Hamas and releasing the hostages there. And to pray for coming back all our soldiers from this battle, safe and in health.
I want to pray for all the mothers who have lost their children. I've lost a daughter, not this time, but I know what great sorrow it is, and that it's very hard to come back to life and to choose life when you have lost a part of yourself.
I want to...
אני רוצה...
Okay.
אפשר?
כן.
אני בלי מצלמה, סליחה, אבל אני רוצה שרון לשם, אחיין של חברה טובה שלי, בן 19 שהוא חטוף, שיחזור בשלום, וכל הילדים והחטופים שיחזרו בשלום כמה שיותר מהר. ליבי איתם ועם המשפחות שלהם.
אמן.
אפשר?
I would like to pray for the 2,000 children killed in Gaza, whose names remain untold.
אפשר? אני רוצה להזכיר את אמילי קורנברג, ילדה בת 9 שאיבדה את אימא שלה ונרצחה באכזריות בקיבוץ בארי. אני מכירה את הילדה.
I would like to pray for the two children of Mirit and Dilan. They are in my family. That the two children were kidnapped and now they are in Gaza.
I'd like to say a prayer that we will all find in our region compassion in our hearts and the strength and the love to continue humanity and not to lose our own humanity in these very difficult times. I really pray that everybody on both sides will be able to somehow find that compassion in their hearts.
I would like to hold prayer for Guy Bazak that died at the age of 19, a soldier, on the first day. And I pray for his parents. to hold all this.
Me too. I want to pray for Chen Achmias. He was a father for 4 children. He was killed. He was an officer in the Yamam, in the special forces of the police, and he was killed on the first day at the 7th of October. First forces that came to Sderot, and I want to pray a big and to give a lot of strength to his parents that are very important to our family.
I want to pray for the Shoham family. Adi, she's a mother, and Tal, the father, and Nave, he's 8 years old, and Yahel, she's 5 years old.
I would like to pray for the family of my cousins. 5 families that were rescued from the kibbutz, and they're all safe in body, but they will need a lot of recovery for their soul and spirit. So I pray for healing for everybody who was lucky and had this miracle of staying alive.
We'll take one more and then close for the group.
I'd like to pray that my son, Liron, who's a soldier fighting in Gaza, will come home safely, together with all the other soldiers, the brave soldiers who are in Gaza now, trying to defend our country.
And
in the north.
Taking some moments and letting our silence hold the unsaid prayers, taking some moments to honor the prayers that did not get said. And to feel our shared care. To feel the tenderness that actually is the hope. The shared space of caring. Sacred space that can include the ocean of sorrows. That can include that deep prayer that somehow these moments move us towards more connection, more compassion, more love, more peace. My friends, you are such precious beings, each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you for the healing for me of being part of this with you. Thank you for your beautiful hearts. And Mikal, you're on to close us. Thank you.
It is hard to close after such prayer and sadness for so many people, and Emma, that I love so much. Yes, I'm speechless. Let us hold the sadness together. Let us hold life together in this day and this time. Thank you, Tara. You led us through such a meaningful evening with your kindness and wise heart.
It'd be beautiful to hear that music again, that music that has hope in it and love.
Do you want to say the words or just to put music?
I'm going to read in English the words to this. There will be a day, and the children of all genders and colors will follow the path of the heart. They will speak the language of the earth and understand the language of the sky. They will live as a part of the great circle of life, and then peace will come. There will be a day, and the children of all genders and colors will follow the path of the heart. Their hearts will walk in faith. They will make sacred all forms of living beings and plants. Together, they will pray, connecting to the very source of life, and then peace will come.
שמה את השנים בהתחלה, זה שיר של שבט אופי, הנבואה שלהם. זאת אומרת,
יום יבוא ובני כל המינים והצבעים ילכו את דרך הלב. יום יבוא ובני כל המינים והצבעים ילכו את דרך הלב. ידברו את שפת האדמה, יבינו את השמיים. יחיו כחלק שלם במעגל הגדול של החיים. ואז יבוא שלום, 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 ואז יבוא שלום. יום יבוא ובני כל המינים והצבעים ילכו את דרך הלב. יום יבוא ובני כל המינים והצבעים ילכו את דרך
היה קטיעה בשניות האחרונות של השיר. ואני אשים לכם בקבוצות את השיר, אם תרצו להקשיב לו. וכן, בתוך הרגע המאוד מאוד רגיש הזה, אני שולחת לכולנו המון המון אהבה. ומי ייתן, כל החטופות והחטופים יחזרו במהרה ובשלום. אני פותחת את הסאונד, ככה שמי שרוצה ככה להגיד מילים לסיום, ככה סיימנו, אבל וטרה יצאה, אז אפשר ככה לדבר בעברית.
מיכל, נכון, את מיכל. כתבתי משהו, אבל קיבלתי איזה מין הודעה שאי אפשר לכתוב
רגע, אני...
מישהי שבקבוצת מנהלים שהיא נקראת תודעה או משהו כזה. אז קיבלתי הודעה שאי אפשר, אז אני כן אקריא לך מה כתבתי. כתבתי שהיה כל כך רגיש, עדין, עמוק ומלא תבונה וחוכמה רוחנית. עשיתי כל המפגש ותודה, וביקשתי אם אפשר את השירים שטרה הקריאה, וגם שאלתי אם יש ספר שהיא כתבה ואם תהיה הקלטה של המפגש. אז כל...
הקלטה ויש ספרים שהיא כתבה באנגלית, אפשר למצוא ספרים נפלאים שלה. כן.
אז אם תכתבי לנו בקבוצה. תודה רבה על המפגש הזה, היה מאוד חשוב.
תודה שתרגמו לעברית.
כן, תודה לקרן ולאיריס, וגם לעצמי קצת, שתרגמתי חלק מהזמן.
תודה רבה מיכל, ממש תודה רבה.
נשמח לקבל הקלטה.
איך אפשר לקבל הקלטה?
תעלה, כן, אני תעלה בקבוצה, נשים לכם.
תודה רבה.
תודה רבה. איזה קבוצה?
תודה רבה רבה.
בקבוצות של להיות ביחד.
תודה רבה על המאמץ, תודה.
תודה, זה עוצמתי מאוד מאוד.
תודה.
תודה ולילה טוב.
תודה רבה.
תודה רבה
לילה
מיכל.
טוב.
תודה רבה.
לילה טוב.
תודה.
תודה.
לילה טוב.
תודה מיכל.
תודה, לילה טוב, מיכל.
תודה רבה.
ימים טובים יותר.
תודה רבה.
לילה טוב.
תודה רבה, לילה טוב ושקט.
מעולה. תודה רבה.
תודה רבה. תודה רבה.
תודה, כל כך הרבה תודה. תודה מיכל.
הנה זאתי שני של הנגינה גילי. שני. תודה גם.
אני אשים לכם גם את כל הלינקים של שני. ענת יקרה, אני איך שהרגשתי שאי אפשר לעבור לתנועה מתוך המקום הזה, וככה שחררתי, כן, זה לא...
לגמרי, לא, אני לא... ממש, זה כאילו סיום כזה.
כן, כן. כל ערב יש לנו תנועה בסוף שענת ומורות אחרות ככה מעבירות, ופשוט ככה, אז תכננו, אבל זה היה לא...
זה היה מאוד 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 עוצמתי, אז אין לזה מקום.
חברות, חברים,
תודה, תודה רבה.
תודה.